Have you ever noticed, regardless of what's going on in the market, what's going on in the world, it could be coronavirus, a Russian invasion, it could be absolutely anything, it could be a housing crisis, and regardless of what that is, a realtor's advice is always, you need to buy a home, is let me sell you a home. They're always trying to sell you a home. And before getting into real estate, this was one of the things that I never really understood is when you have a market, right? All the mortgage people, all the realtors, whether buying or selling, they all get paid based off of how high um, the home sells for. So when you have all of these elements, which are all of the processes in the transaction, all pushing for a higher sell price, naturally, constantly, your prices are always moving up till it gets to a point that it breaks, then it drops, and then it comes back down again. So that's why you always hear people go, "Oh, I'm waiting for the prices to drop," and then the kind of realtor's response is, "Oh, well, they won't drop." And they always do, of course, because it's cyclical. So this is always going to happen steadily over time. You'll notice that it will go up. So it depends on how long you're purchasing a home for, whether it's 4 years, 10 years, 15 years. But it's always going to steadily go up. But there's going to be ups and downs along that steady increase line. So lately, I've been seeing some crazy things. Obviously, as the market's getting a lot more competitive, there's a lot more desperation. So one of the reasons they're always trying to sell you a house is quite simply they need the money. Is they're trying to pay bills. They're trying to keep their life going. So obviously, it puts them in a difficult situation where they're trying to put your best interests and their best interests, and those two things don't always necessarily line up. We had a client touring the other day. And this particular client, she'd been told things that weren't true about certain properties she was going to tour with a previous agent, because I think, quite frankly, it's either the agent didn't know enough about the property, or they wanted to basically skew her perception in order to only tour a few in order for them to get a deal. And then it's difficult for agents, right? I understand where they're coming from, is it's a time maximization industry. So, but this allows a lot of open room basically to be a little bit untrue, and for essentially for people to get taken advantage of. So one of our mantras is we never try and sell anybody anything. We're more on the advice side. And I always joke, I have kind of a running joke with people that I say, like, I'm the worst realtor ever, because I'm gonna talk you out of buying a home or out of buying something before I'm gonna talk you into it. But then at least we know when we move forward, that is really something they want to do. It is something that's in their best interest, and it is something that that's gonna work for them. So if you ever wonder why they're always trying to sell you a home, or why it's always the right time to buy, if they were market experts, they would probably be in the financial game, right? As if macroeconomics was their thing, they would probably be in that industry. And quite simply, they're not. They're realtors. So I wouldn't. People always ask me, "Oh, what advice would you give? What do you think is going to happen with the market?" And I always say that with a precursor: is this is my opinion from what I've seen. But then we're only looking at it from one micro lens of the one industry, which is real estate. There's all these other things going on with macroeconomics that could affect it that we may not be looking at. So I always say that I don't think I'm qualified to give a full analysis of it, but there are parts that I can see trends here, there, and whatnot that are maybe a bit deeper to what your average realtor would look in. So if you've ever asked yourself the question, why are realtors always trying to sell me a home, it's probably somewhere along those lines.